Welcome back to Lord TV L3RD TV. We are back. Playoffs continue. NBA playoffs continue. We are here to react and to predict round 2 of the 2025 NBA playoffs. Yes. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We are here. So let's get right to it. What are we waiting for? Nothing. Let's get right to it. So, starting off with the first game of the round 2. And they had their second game today. Cleveland Cavaliers versus Indiana Pacers. Indiana Pacers steals both games. What the hell? What the hell, Burton? Hit the step back 3, missed the free throws, to then hit the step back 3 on him. Step back Jack. Overrated. Who? He said me? Here, get these gorilla balls. Gorilla balls step back 3 on you. And this is pretty much the same thing that happened last year. They get lucky with injuries, and then they take it and run with it. So it is what it is, you know. You get lucky with some injuries, and you know you still gotta go out there and hoop, and that's what they do. Very reminiscent of us last year, like I said, but especially game 1, round 2. Now this game today without. They already didn't have Darius Garland, Cleveland Cavaliers, but now they had Hunter's out, and Mobley was also out. So you're 3 of your starting 5 sitting out, and in all honesty, Cavaliers had this game, but it's very reminiscent of the Bucks series. Donovan's not gonna be able to do it by himself. Same way Giannis wasn't going to be able to do it by himself. So, that his Robin and Darius Garland. He don't got his Alfred, and he don't got whoever the 4th person in the Batman universe would be. I don't know. I'm not well versed in the Batman universe, but I do know about Alfred and I do know about Robin. So, without, like I said, 3 of your starting 5 are out, it's going to be tough to win in the playoffs against a Indiana Pacers team who is very much a well-oiled machine, very much a team. Obviously, Siakam was All-Star this year, and Halliburton was All-Star last year, so he's still All-Star. But by no means, I don't know how he got the most overrated player. There's way more overrated players in the NBA. Rudy Gobert is probably the most overrated, so I don't know how Halliburton got that. And considering he's a double-double machine. Obviously today he didn't have a double-double almost. His assists were low, but he had 9 rebounds, gave you 19 points, and hit a game winner. So, which is his 2nd game winner in this playoffs already. So, can't really call a guy who's closing games overrated, because he's not, clearly. So we'll see. Excuse me. We'll see what happens with these injuries, timetables of them coming back. But it's unfortunate. Cleveland had this game and kind of threw it away when in the 4th quarter, Donovan Mitchell sat to start the 4th quarter, and they don't have no offense, so Indiana was getting stops and scoring on the other end, and Cavaliers were turning it over, couldn't get good shots, wasn't having good possessions. So it was always going to be tough for them anytime that Donovan Mitchell went to go sit. So that kind of right there, and then they kind of just lost momentum after that. The Indiana started picking up momentum. So NBA is a game of runs, basketball is a game of runs. So they just couldn't make any runs after he went and sat and kind of lost that momentum. Donovan Mitchell's shooting hasn't been to his standard in this series so far in these 2 games. Still, obviously, is a bucket and went and got it, but what are you gonna do? His 3 balls not falling, and he still ends up with over 30 points. So I think at 40. So that's always gonna be extremely tough for the Cavaliers, and they're kind of fighting a super uphill battle now. So now they got to go to Indiana, where Indiana's one of the better home teams in the league. When they're at home, it's a fortress pretty much. So it's going to be tough. So we'll see kind of how it plays out in these next couple of days here, but it's going to be rough. And then the second game, the game that's going on right now, the Warriors and Timberwolves. Right now, as we speak, 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And it's a 10-point game. To start the fourth quarter, it was a 20-point game. Obviously, Steph Curry goes out with a hamstring injury, which is unfortunate because he's probably going to miss the rest of the playoffs, because hamstring typically on like a short end is about 2 weeks, but it can also be 2 months. So we'll see what happens with that, if they can pull this series out, and if it is on the shorter side of 2 weeks, they can maybe see him come back in the Eastern Conference Finals if they're able to make it out of this series. Now it's going to be tough, but obviously you have Jimmy Butler, who we've seen what he's done with the Heat in recent years and getting them to the finals. So, you still have a chance. You still have a really good team. They're really good defensively. They still do have some good shooters. Buddy Hield, B-Pods, Quentin Post is a good shooter. So now are they going to make those shots? I don't know. I don't know. In this fourth quarter, Rudy Gobert's kind of started to take over from a rebounding standpoint. They brought in Looney, so to try to neutralize him on the boards, because he's really giving Minnesota some good momentum. They're making some threes, so we'll see how this kind of plays out. As the Timberwolves are a solid team, good roster, but I think the Warriors, without Steph Curry, is obviously a big miss, but they could still win this series. They still do have enough to win this series, because you can kind of say, okay, Jimmy and Ant in a way can kind of cancel each other out, and it's about the others really stepping up. So who's gonna come through for the others on both sides. And so far, Buddy Hield just hit a 3, and so far Ant hasn't had a good game. He's only at 12 or 13 points right now. He only had 1 point in the first half, so we'll see how that plays out. But I think the Warriors still do have enough, and then we'll kind of see. That'll be touch and go with Mr. Steph Curry, Chef Curry, and his timetable on returning to this series and to this playoffs in general. And kind of just like that, the Warriors got back a 14-point lead. So let's see how this plays out. Moving over to Knicks versus Celtics. The Knicks, I know, won that game, but they are cooked. Because for you to even come back and win that game, it took the Celtics to miss 45 threes. To shoot 60 threes in a game is insane. And to miss 45 threes is insane. Insane. They were 15 of 60. And then the Knicks were 17 of whatever. They shot like 40 something percent. So you're telling me you shot almost, because I think they were 17 of 37 if I'm remembering correctly. To be about 40 some percent. So you shot 20 some more threes than the opposite team, and they only made 2 more than you. And pretty much if you look at all the stats, Celtics pretty much won every stat: rebounding, blocks, assists, steals. No, steals. Knicks won on the steal size, I remember. So that's what it took. And if you're looking at the regular season, where sometimes the regular season when it comes to playoffs isn't the best thing to look at, because it is very much different than the playoffs, but it's still a good indication. You can kind of get some good spark notes, if you will, some good analysis from that. The Knicks didn't beat any of the top 4 teams this year. They were 0-16 against the top 4 teams, top 5 teams, whatever it was. So they couldn't beat any of the top teams. And Porzingis went out with the injury. I mean, his health is kind of up and down, so you never know what you're going to get out of them. But the Celtics are still the favorites to win everything this year. Again, they still have the best overall roster. But it took the Celtics to miss 45 threes for you to get back in the game, because they were smacking the Knicks, for you to get back in the game and then to, clinch it in overtime and win. And that's the thing. If it is close, you do have, by the awards standing, the best closer in basketball right now, in Jalen Brunson, who has shown that in the first series and in this game 1. So, what are you going to do? If you can keep it close in the fourth quarter, you give yourself a chance. But if they're knocking down threes, you're kind of cooked. And if they would have made 2 to 3 more threes, they beat you. So, they're not going to miss 45 threes again. So, what are you going to do? I think the Knicks are probably cooked in 5 games. I think this is the one game they won, and they're about to get smacked in the next 4 games, maybe 6. But I think this is going to be a gentleman's sweep, and I think they just kind of were helped out by the fact that the Celtics shot so bad from the 3-point line. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough for the Knicks. And then moving on to the last series, Thunder versus Nuggets. Great game. It's going to be very tough for this Thunder team to beat Denver. It's going to be very, very tough for this Thunder team to beat Denver, because the Thunder don't shoot too many threes. They don't shoot a bunch of threes. And Denver is, I think, the team that shoots the least amount of threes in the league. But they have the best player in the league. I know Shea's probably going to get MVP. And granted, he probably should, because he's got the best record in NBA, and he's played like an MVP. But the best player in basketball is that man, Jokic, and he showed it. He showed out 40 and 20. He absolutely showed out. So it's going to be very tough. And then, they just walked him right on down. So that's the thing. It's a close game. You have a great closer in Jokic, obviously. You have a great closer in Jamal Murray, who, didn't have the best game. Still gave you 20, but didn't have his usual game. He's due for a 30-plus game. And they're probably going to win that game, because normally when he gets 30-plus, they win that game. So it's going to be tough for the Thunder. they're still obviously a really young team. And even looking at those like that last kind of sequence when Chet was at the free throw line, I'm someone that's lived in 6 different states. I know basketball, yes, but something I know more than basketball is people, body language. It's just something I've learned from moving around, starting over throughout my life, seeing different cultures, seeing different just types of people. I understand body language. When he was at the free throw line, I said, he's going to miss this first one. I don't watch enough Thunder basketball to know Chet's regular routine, but I don't think that was his regular routine. He took way too long shooting that free throw, and maybe that is. I don't know. Like I said, I don't watch enough Thunder basketball. That's not my team. But when I watched that sequence and I was watching him at the free throw line, I said, he's missing this. Clank. And then the second one, he did the same thing. I said, he's about to choke both of these. He's about to choke both of these free throws. Clank. And Aaron Gordon did make a boneheaded play around the 22nd mark where he got the rebound and he kind of tried to force a layup. And it was like, what are you doing? We could have just kicked it out to Jamal or Jokic, who were open at the top of the perimeter. And he missed that. And I was like, that he might have just cost him the game. Comes down, knocks down a 3. Boom. So that's his second game winner of this playoffs. And we've had a lot of game winners in this playoffs, which is amazing for, us basketball fans. But it's going to be a very tough task for the Thunder to beat the Denver Nuggets. They're going to have to really play kind of the perfect game. Because they had them. They were up by 10 for a lot of the game. But then they just kind of let them walk them down. Denver gets stops when they needed to get stops. Thunder couldn't get stops. I mean, the thing is, it comes down to just, unfortunately, in the sport of basketball, body size is a big thing. So as great as Shea is, you can throw a Christian Braun at him. You can throw a Russell Westbrook. So you got 2 high energy guys. You could throw Watson at him. You could throw Aaron Gordon at him, right? You got 4 people who you can just give him different looks, throw those players at him to kind of wear him down, tire him out, and just try to make life as difficult as possible. You got one guy that is supposed to be able to guard Jokic and Hartenstein, and he's not good enough. Chet gets on him, too small, baby. And anyone that gets switched on him, that's what you saw in those final moments in that fourth quarter. Anytime somebody got switched on to Jokic that wasn't Hartenstein, it was barbecue fucking chicken. 3 dribbles and just backs them down into the post and gets a layup or kicks it out for an open shot. But typically he was just knocking down those layups or just shooting over them, whatever the case may be, just because of, he's a center and he's the best player in basketball and he's the best player on the floor. So it's going to be very tough for them to stop and do anything with him. He's a mismatch for every team in basketball. So, good luck to the Thunder. But it's going to be very tough, very, very tough. And now they stole the game, and now you got to go to Denver with the altitude situation. It's always harder to play in Denver. Every NBA player has said that throughout their career. It's the hardest place to play just from a scientific standpoint of altitude, and it's harder to breathe and whatever the case may be, versus Denver. They live there, they play there, there's their home court, so they're accustomed to it. So now they stole a game, so it's going to be very interesting. Pretty much every game here is going to be very interesting, except the Celtics, and I think that series is a wrap. But if I'm going through and giving my predictions here, I think we got, for the Thunder Denver series, I think it's going to be a 6 game to Denver, maybe 5. It could be 5, but I think it's going to be 6 to Denver. Then Indiana Cavs really depends on these injuries, but that might be a 5-game series, 6 games to Indiana. If these people, if the players come back, then it's probably going to go 7. And the Cavs will probably pull it off at home if they can get their players back. But if the injuries are the injuries, then Indiana's probably going to come through with that in 5 or 6 games. Then if I'm looking at Warriors Timberwolves, this Steph situation kind of throws some things off. So I don't know. I still think the Warriors are going to have enough, so I'll just say Warriors in 6. Right now they're up 12 with 3 minutes or so, 2 minutes or so, whatever it is left. They're probably going to close this game out in Minnesota, so they're looking like they're still in game 1. But without Steph, it makes the job a little bit harder, but I still think they have enough because they have Jimmy now. So, and the others are playing solid. Buddy Hield just hit a 3. He's been doing okay in this playoff so far. So, they might have enough, and they defend. They really defend. They get after it. So it's gonna be tough on Ant and the rest of that squad over there in Minnesota. So I'll say Warriors in 6. And then in the Celtics series, Celtics Knicks, I think that's going to be 5 for the Celtics because they're not going to shoot that bad again. So New York's probably screwed. 6 at the most, but Celtics are probably going to get them out of there. Like they might just straight sweep them now. 4 games, just boom, 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 boom. But, they might get 1. Knicks might win one of these games at home. You never know. But if I'm going based off of what happened in the regular season and what happened in that game 1, they took the Celtics to have their worst shooting performance in history to win, to come back. So we'll see, but Celtics are definitely going to come through. I want Denver to win the whole thing, if I'm being honest with you. Don't really want the Warriors. Could care less for the Warriors. And then I don't want any of the young guys to win again. Celtics already won. Really don't want them to win again. But I don't want any of the young guys to win before Luka. So I don't want Donovan Mitchell to win, even though he's a little bit older. But definitely don't want him to win. Don't want Cyrus. Nobody's coming out of the East. It's Celtics. Like, nobody's even coming out of the East. So don't want the Celtics to win. And then I don't want the Thunder with Shea or Minnesota with Ant to win. So, like, if I had to drop down a tier, if Denver couldn't do it, then the Warriors and then the Celtics. But definitely don't want Thunder or Minnesota to win because I don't want the young guys to beat Luka to a championship, and I really don't want the Celtics to Jason Tatum and the Celtics get another one to go back to back. I really don't want that either because I don't care for Jason Tatum and the rest of them boys over there. So, come on, Jokic. Come on. You got it. My Serbian brother, you got it. And it'd be nice to see Russell get a ring, in all honesty. So, that's it for me. That's my predictions and reactions to the games that have already happened. 1 minute left in this game. Golden State up by 13. Jimmy Butler at the top of the key with the ball, dribbling, step back, 2-pointer, clank. And that's all for me. Adios.